Ah, yes. Good morning and a very TC salute to you guys. Wanted to get some steps in while it was still relatively cool. Because this is Tejas. What do I think about UFOs? What a question to start the thing off with. What do I think about UFOs? I think we live in a big universe, and to think that we're the only species, intelligent species. So some of you out there make me have serious doubts about that last part. Yeah, we're not the only beings in this universe. I mean, there are more galaxies that we can observe than are grains of sand on a beach, and those are galaxies. And we're all whizzing around together and expanding out into this void we call the universe. And to think that we're the only species out here is, well, that's a lot of hubris. What's up, Tyrannus? Hey, Gerald. There you go, Stefano. That was my answer. Do I think UFOs are real? Are they here? I don't know. I mean, you saw how far we've come around in 10,000 years of recorded human history. And it took less than 100 years after Orville and Wilbur Wright flew the Kitty Hawk, and all of a sudden we were landing on the moon, right? So, say a civilization that's, say, 10,000 years ahead of us, who knows what they can do? I mean, you can look at our human history, what that would look like, right? I'm doing great, Bobby. Hope you're doing well yourself, man. Just wanted to get some steps in, get some coffee in, and talk about some things I've noticed on the news. A lot of people out there screeching about the illegals getting rounded up. I'm like, these are not big picture people. They don't understand what's actually going on. It's frustrating sometimes. You know, it's like you can notice things. You understand why things are happening, because all you have to do is put two and two together, and all they want to do is screech. For example, being trucking specific as well, they know automation's coming, guys. I live in Texas. We're kind of at ground zero for it here. They're doing a lot of loads between Dallas and Houston up and down I-45. Automation's coming. And that's just the long and the short of it. Hopefully, if you guys are still in trucking, you had followed some advice and had specialized and gotten some experience on your belt. Because when it hits, it's going to hit hard and fast. And everyone's going to be scrambling around for the same few jobs. Basically, they're trying to get rid of OTR and make everyone a local driver. All right. That's just the long and the short of it. If you're on a regular route, going like from DC to DC, well, those are the jobs that they're going to be targeting. If you're on like an irregular route or you go to smaller customers, you'll probably be safer for a little while. But the DC to DC guys, those are going to be taking over our robots. And knowing that that's coming down the pipeline, they have to mitigate the immutable laws of supply and demand. In this case being labor. So, as a world leader, what do? Well, you start by limiting the pool of labor that you could choose from. And that stemmed by going after the non-English speakers, who, by the way, where they may be decent people, they shouldn't have been given a CDL to begin with. So that's an easy one to go after first. Because those guys are going to be replaced with robots. We don't need the labor. You guys don't have anything to worry about, but the spaceship is fun and awesome. Apparently they got good Wi-Fi out in outer space. Tyrannus, you cracked me up, dude. No, but that's the long and the short of it, man. They know automation's coming, and they're getting rid of the people that aren't supposed to be here. So it leaves some jobs for the citizens that we're all going to be scrambling into when our jobs are eliminated. And that's what it's all about. That's what this is all about. It's about the coming of automation. That's why they've been pushing for UBI for these last couple of years. They don't tell you out in the open, but you can put two and two together. You know, remember when Yang came out with the Yang bucks and the UBI and all that? The reason they're coming out with the UBI is because a lot of jobs are going to go away, and they don't want people rioting in the streets. Right? You take away a man's job, and you give him nothing but misery, no future, no out, and unlimited time on their hands. Well, what do men do? Men congregate and form gangs. What do gangs do? They go out there and harass the general public. And that's exactly what they're trying to avoid. So the men cannot have idle hands in society to have a functioning society. Otherwise, we'll tear down what we built because it's no longer working for us. And that's just biological imperative. Something ain't working for you, you tear it down, you start over. And they know this. They just won't come out and say it. Ooh, they got rid of this stretch of sidewalk. I guess I'm going to get muddy feet. So yeah, that's what this is all about. This thing's still... So yeah, hopefully some people listen back in the day that ain't stick around with the low-hanging fruit, because the low-hanging fruit is what is going to be picked first. And in this case, it's going to be the DC stuff, the regular route stuff, and the warehouses that are near easily accessible infrastructure, so it won't confuse the damn robots. Damn, I guess people don't like the topic. Oh well, this is just the stuff that interests me, guys. Just the stuff that interests me. Either way, my steps in. But yeah, I've been seeing a lot of these people like to go on TikTok and take clips of videos. It's pretty entertaining, I can't lie. I've seen the Hodge twins. I saw that one this morning. They had a couple of ladies that were caught stealing, shoplifting, and then now they're going back home. There's a lot of that going on right now. I saw one on Facebook about, oh, this poor teen in high school, he ran a stop sign. Turns out he wasn't supposed to be here. Not his fault if he's a teenager. I get it. But now he's going home. A lot of people are fighting going home. Which is funny, honestly, because it wasn't a month ago that the Mexico City, the citizens there were rioting because they wanted to get rid of all the white people there, the gringos. because these people were coming in from Silicon Valley and the Pacific Northwest doing remote working jobs, and they were moving down to Mexico City because they have a certain amount of infrastructure and modernization. But there were so many of these remote workers for the United States were coming down. They were snapping up a lot of the housing and the rentals in the area, and they were gentrifying the place. It was causing the rent to go up. It was the opposite effect here, right? You had the gringos going down there. They were causing the rent to go up because they were making their American money, but living down in Mexico City, and living quite well, actually. And the locals didn't like that because it got rid of some of the taquerias, and they were putting in Starbucks. You know. They started serving more pumpkin spice lattes and whatnot. They didn't appreciate that down there. I get it, though. I gotta say, pumpkin spice is delicious. I am a big proponent of pumpkin spice, and it's almost that time of year. It's already freaking hot out here, man. That's why I haven't been doing this here lately. It's already damn hot. But yeah, you hear a lot of people. I saw one of those videos, right? It was on Asmongold. I like a broad spectrum, right, of where to see some of this stuff. You know, for the younger crowd, I like to listen to Asmongold because he's plugged into the younger crowd and see what they're going through. It's important to stay grounded as you get older. You know, you don't want to be a jaded old fart just yelling at people off your lawn. You kind of need to know why they're there to begin with and how we got here, to have a certain level of understanding so you can help fix the issues and not just yell at people because they piss you off. But this lady, he had a compilation, but she was talking about how wages have been stagnant since the 90s, housing's too expensive, she's afraid rights are being taken away, and which is bullshit, by the way. None of that is true. I'm just sitting there scratching my head. It's like, well, why do you think wages are stagnant and the housing's going up? Why do you think that is? If you take 2 femtoseconds to think about it, why do you think that would be? You know, when you inject, when we already had a glut of illegals, right? And then in 4 short years, you have estimated 20 million more pouring into the interior. What do you think? Did we just magic up 20 million new homes? Did we just magic up 20 million new jobs? What do you think happened? And it's not just their fault, by the way. They're being enticed to come here. My solution would be pretty damn easy. You wouldn't even need a wall. You would just start arresting and fining business owners. If they can't pay the fines after they do their mandatory jail time, you just start confiscating businesses. And then you sell off the property to responsible business owners that will follow the law. Because it's the law. You don't just get to pick and choose what law you follow. It's the law. That includes labor law. You know, I know the big funny thing was a meme going around. It's like, oh, look, all the people were gone. So how many white people are going to be coming out in the fields picking these crops for $5.50 an hour? And I'm like, that's the entire point, dummy. Nobody should be making $5.50 an hour toiling at a field because it's under minimum wage. Right? Nobody should be out there picking the crops for $5.50 an hour. It's the business owners that are getting away with it. They should be doing jail time because they enticed and created the problem. They're the ones setting the sausage or milk out on the porch for the local strays to come up. And now you got 20 cats on your porch. You know, they're the problem. You're addicted to cheap labor. You know, when you do what our parents did, the boomers, my parents anyway, because I'm older now. Yeah, when you do cost, you know, the inflation for what they used to be able to do for the jobs like a janitor, right? I saw a comment, a guy's like, back in this, I was making my first job I was making $1.90 an hour in '62. I'm like, okay. And that was his first job. So I went back and did the old Googler and calculated, adjusted for inflation. His first job as a janitor, he was making over $15 an hour. My first job, I was a busboy, and I wasn't making anywhere near that. And that was in 1990 money. So his first job in his economy was already more than double what I was making. And therein lies the problem, right? That's why you have boomers going out there with a single family income, able to afford a house, a couple of cars, the wife that didn't have to work, and a couple of kids, taking family vacations, and working 40 hours a week, so on and so forth, right? What we would consider Americana, well, that's gone because of globalists and the influx of cheap labor, right? So once the boomers got theirs, and this is what happened, once they got theirs, they pulled the ladder up behind them, because then they became older and they wanted the cheap labor, right? They didn't want to pay the local handyman that is bonded and licensed. They wanted to go down to Home Depot, whistle up a couple of illegals to go out there and do all the work around the house on the cheap, even though he was doing the same damn job in his 20s or right out of high school to make a decent wage. You know, that's why these boomers, they used to be able to go to university on a part-time income and pay for it. No college debt when they got out of there. No debt. Now these poor sacks crap are getting out of there and they got a $100,000 debt with a 20% interest rate that they're never going to pay off for some bullshit liberal arts degree. You know? And then they'll complain that they can't get ahead and pay the damn thing off, which is true, because they believe the lie. Yeah, that's a shame. Yeah. Have you, little Johnny, have you thought about a career in pharmaceuticals? Yeah, but I mean, that's just the point. It's just the times change, and unfortunately, the boomer voting bloc is so large compared to Gen X and the millennials. And it didn't help that they aborted a bunch of kids, right? You go look at the stats. Go look at the stats. It's like over 60 million citizens since Roe v. Wade was implemented have been deleted. 60 million. That's more than every man, woman, and child on the West Coast. Just Thanos snapped them out of existence right now. That's what we're missing out of our economy right now. And the powers that be, well, they could do math. Like, well, we got all these people on Social Security now. Well, guess what? There's not enough warm bodies out there to pay into the system to keep it going. So they just think they bring in every other sad sack of shit from around the world to throw them into as a cog into the machine, thinking that any warm body's going to do. And it turns out they were wrong. You know, even the Labour Prime Minister of the UK, Keir Starmer, came out and said a couple of months ago that mass migration is a net deficit to society because they cost too much. You know, we as blue collar people have been saying that for a long time. We didn't need some white collar asshole and a lawyer to tell us that. We could do simple math too. And we saw the deleterious effects they were having on society because they're not assimilating. Well, what the hell do you think happens to a society? Where are they? What good is it to migrate to a country if you don't assimilate? If you're just going to bring your shithole ideology from where you came from who gives a fuckistan, right? All of this didn't happen by accident. It was by the rule of law and order, having societal norms, having a high trust society. Yeah. Back in the day, you used to be able to leave your car keys in your car, walk into the store. Nobody locked their front doors. There was no need to. You somehow drop your wallet on the ground, somebody's going to turn it in for you so you can go pick it up. And you know what? All the money and all the bullshit inside your wallet is going to still be there. That doesn't happen anymore. Yeah, I know. And it's now, obviously I'm talking on the macro view, right? It's not like the boomers had everything handed to them. They just had a different economy, right? Their fathers and grandfathers had to go through World War I and World War II. Korea, right? And then, you know, a lot of them were being drafted in the military for Vietnam, literally right out of high school. Here's your high school diploma. Now you're going out to Saigon to go shoot some people that you couldn't even find on the map 2 weeks ago. It's like, why the hell are we doing this? And that's a different story, but it's all the French's fault. True story. But anyway, it's not like they had but after Vietnam ended, we had the longest, and that's where the Gen Xers come in, me and many of you. We actually got to live through one of the longest stretches of peace that the United States has ever experienced. Once Vietnam ended, we didn't have a major military action until George Bush Sr. with Desert Storm, Desert Shield. Yeah, we had some police actions here and there, but nothing major, right? I'm talking about military conflict. So we had over 20 years of peace. And that's why the 80s were so fantastic. Hello. Yeah. I'm worse alive, I take it. Yeah, that's a pretty odd thing, isn't it? I saw that. I'm not as plugged into these guys like I used to be, but I did see that. You know, I guess if you get tired of the politics, we could talk a little shit, but still, yeah, that was a surprise. I actually have this idea for a video floating around in my head. I just never pulled the trigger on it because I got so busy with work. I'll find a nice shady spot here. Yeah, I just got to the point where I just don't follow the guys that just routinely piss me off on a regular, because it's not worth it, to be honest. It's lesser people talking shit about me that are in worse situations than I am, trying to tell me how to do certain things. I'm like, dude, I'm like the last guy standing. Everything I've sought out to do, I told you guys for years ago, I've done. Everything. These other guys, they're still out there scamming, out there talking shit, you know, working harder to get out of work than actually doing the work, because everyone wants to do the get rich quick scheme, and it doesn't work that way. Not normally. I mean, lightning does strike every once in a while, but you know, here I am, doing better than ever, still kicking ass. Yeah, where are these guys? Sucking hind tit. I'm just saying, it didn't happen by accident. You know, and you try to share some pearls of wisdom, you know, wisdom that you earned the hard way through like over 20 years of experience in the industry, and they just want to laugh at you or call you names or whatever, and there they are, hating life, hating their circumstances. Here I am, doing fucking fantastic, to be perfectly honest with you. Yeah, exactly. What's up, old school? Yeah. So whatever, you know. I can't say I have all the answers, but I do have some answers, and I can tell you what has worked and has not worked for me, you know. And if and there have been people over the last couple of years, especially when Jason and I were going at it, they took my advice and they sent me private emails thanking me, believe it or not. And no, I didn't make a dime off these guys, because none of them went to CAG, and that's fine. But some of them got into cryo, some of them got into tanking in general, and they're very happy, honestly. You know, but I mean, I know that, again, tanking works for me. I mean, there's other things you can do out there that make more than tanking. I get that. It's just my experience, right? I'm not going to make some bullshit up, you know, and talk a certain position up that I've never done, like heavy haul or whatever, you know, just shit like that. I can just tell you what works for me. And I saw the numbers these guys were putting out there, and I'm like, you guys are a fucking joke. You know, you're a fucking joke. A lot of their numbers they were throwing out, it's like, I'm doing that as a company guy, and I got full benefits and a 401k and all the other shit that goes along with it, and I don't have the stress of the bullshit to go along with it. It's just like, whatever. Yeah, DJ, I saw dipshit Dave was out there at it again. It's part of that crew, man. They're scammers. They're scammers. He's the RVT fucking holdovers. You know? Is he still kicking around? He's supposed to be dead by now. Normally, once you get diagnosed with congestive heart failure, you're dead within 5 years, statistically speaking. So, but I don't know if he's still kicking around or not. Just scammers and bullshit artists, man. It just really chaps my hide. Listen to some of these people, getting people in worse situations than they were in before they listen to them, because they're trying to make a quick buck off their fucking misery. That just drives me up the damn wall. Yeah, crypto mining. Hey, I mean, it's a legitimate thing, right? I've talked to actual crypto miners, with like Bitcoin and whatnot. But you got to have a damn server farm, and you're going to have a huge electric bill, because all of those servers take an incredible amount of energy to process the transactions on a continuous basis to make the money. So you better have a server room that's refrigerated. You better have tens of thousands of dollars in capital on purchasing these crypto mining machines, you know, with the latest and greatest graphics cards. and be prepared for all that. And it's going to take a while to realize a profit because you just dump tens of thousands of dollars on the system and the ACs and all the other bullshit. And the dehumidifiers and everything else that goes along with it. You know, just running an operation off one laptop, leaving on at your kitchen table at your house while you're out here fucking around on the beach is not going to cut it. They ain't going to cut it. He's still rompinating. What a fucking joke. What a fucking joke that guy is. A bad one too. Let's say, DJ, people just want to believe the lie. That's all there is to it. You could tell people do not like truth speakers. People do not like people calling them out on their bullshit. They want to believe the lie. That's why these TV televangelists are so popular, even to this day. They want to believe the lie. They want to believe the glitz and the glamour and the bullshit. Smoke mirrors, the whole 9 yards. I hope you're doing well, DJ. I know there's been a lot of bullshit going on between the U.S. and Canada here lately. I hope that shit calms down. Because, you know, I like our neighbors to the north. Well, yeah, I mean, just the first time I came in contact with these guys, they were lying off the bat. You know, Dave hired RV to work as a team driver for him out in the oil field. But RVT didn't want to share any of his social media shine with old Dave. So they just kept happening to run into each other at the same loves in Odessa. You know, back in 2016. God, that shit was funny when it finally came out. And what inevitably happens, even though they were supposed to be respectable business partners and adults, as soon as it went sideways, they started motherfucking each other. Some of this shit is as predictable as the sun rising in the east. You have too much ego crammed into one fucking one truck. That's why when you get some of these collabs going on, and you see a list of names, it's like that's not going to last. These egos are going to get in the way. It's going to collapse on itself, and they're going to start eating each other like a pack of damn cannibals. It's funny shit. I just heard people. Anyway. So yeah, hopefully, DJ, we'll get these trade negotiations. Honestly, this just goes in line with what I was saying a couple of years ago with the North American Union. At some point, Mexico, the United States, and Canada will be one territory, kind of like the EU, right? And we'll have to do it at some point to compete against the EU and China. We'll have to make the North American Union, you know, so we can unleash the people and the resources available. And it's only going to get worse because of AI. AI is going to take an incredible amount of power, and that's why Biden was so fucking retarded when he started going after the energy sector. He's like, no, the new dawning of an age is AI, and AI needs vast quantities of power. You can't cut back oil and gas. You need oil and gas and everything else, and nukes, and wind, and solar, everything. You need everything. It's that we're going to be able to produce to throw at that. Because if we fall behind, then we're dead. Yeah. Oh, dude, I remember. Yeah, his ink on the CDL wasn't even dry yet. He was talking about he can make 100K in trucking, and whereas Jason did break the law by obtaining RVT's tax records, it was enlightening to find out that He had hard proof that he never made 100K in the corporation when he was proposing that shit. He was making like 80 something $1,000, which is still respectable for a new driver, but it's falls quite short of 100K. And I thought that was wildly amusing. That was a little bit of a comeuppance, I think, because he was hiding a lot of his income through blonde Viking wives being the CEO, so he can get out paying alimony and child support. But still, his gross was still well below 100K. You know, but she should have known better. What she did to the first wife by being the side piece that got wifed up, the British lady did the same thing to her. So why she thought a guy that would do that to his first wife to get to the second wife wouldn't do that to her to have a third wife, I don't know. But everyone thinks that they're the special one, they're the chosen one, and they're going to change somebody, and that was their circumstances, but that's not going to affect them. And that's not the case. It's just he's a shitbag, and shitbags do shitbag things, and they have a pattern of behavior. And since they keep getting away with it, they're going to continue being shitbags doing the same behavior. And that's all there is to it. Yeah, exactly, Bobby. Exactly. Yeah, let me just count the money in this envelope, and we're just gonna send it back. Clearly, a money laundering scheme. Clearly, right? Because you're at your own corporation or LLC or something. So when they send it to you, it looks like you're taking in this money, you're counting it as a business transaction, and you're sending it right back. So now you've just cleaned that money by going through another business. I'm sure it happens like 20 more times before it gets back to the original owner. Otherwise, they send Esteban over to cut some fingers off to figure out where their money was at. Jesus Christ. Uh-oh, what's going on? Oh, shop fees. Is this Sunday supposed to be the day of rest, dude? You can't even enjoy National Park 25. Yeah, I saw that I don't know what minister it is up there, but I saw that they were telling people, Canadians, to stay out of, they can't go hiking right now because of threat of wildfires. They don't want people out there hiking and starting campfires and getting out of control. And they're gonna charge you 25 grand Canadian if you get caught out there, which I thought was like, holy shit. Whereas I understand that the threat of fire is real, right? We're at that time of year, but it's like, goddamn. For the Canadians, I would have liked to have seen Pierre get in, uh, but Pierre was so milk toast, and he slighted Trump that actually cost him the election, and then he got this international cuck in Carney, who's not even a real Canadian, right? He's one of those global citizens, right? He's not only a citizen of Canada, but of Great Britain and some other countries, I believe. So, and then when his first global cuck bastard son of Castro was getting outed, he had to come in and try to save the day, and it didn't go so well for him either. You guys would have been much better off with PR, to be honest. But apparently Pierre pissed off Don Jr. When he was up in Canada, he was trying to make contact with him. They have just a little chit chat. But apparently Pierre showed his ass to the Trump family, and that's one of those families where you piss one off, you piss them all off. So that was kind of a stupid move on his part. Dumber Lloyd. I don't know who that is. I'm guessing he's another handsome individual out here. Alberta on the 18th. I thought Pierre lost his seat. I thought he lost his election. Did that not happen? I thought he was done. Which was like a double slap in the face, right? Not only did you lose what was supposed to be a guaranteed spot as prime minister, but you wind up losing your seat. So it's like, damn. Yeah, and I can understand why Canadians got their ire up, right? I understand it. But you have to see it from the American standpoint, too. A lot of these countries have been free riding off the American taxpayer for far too long. And I get so goddamn tired of hearing about these European or European-like countries out here talking about their standards of living and how great they have it with free health care, education, blah, blah, blah. It's like, well, yeah, the reason you have that, quite frankly, is because the American taxpayers are bankrolling and subsidizing your military and your pharmaceuticals. So you remember that, Trump, one of the first things that Trump did was to readjust or threaten the pharmaceutical companies about readjusting their rates here that they're charging Americans because they're getting the majority of the profits here because they're charging it so low in the EU and other places. And Trump was like, well, for Medicaid and Medicare, I'll tell you what, since we're the ones stroking this check, we're gonna pay only what the cheapest price that's being offered overseas is, and if you don't like it, you can go suck it. So hopefully a lot of shit's happened between now and since then, so hopefully we'll see some action on that. But I realize it doesn't affect private insurance, but that's primarily Medicaid and Medicare and probably even Champus for the military. But it's long overdue. I mean, I know we're a wealthy country, but it's not infinite money over here, and we're not the damn world subsidy. You don't want China and fucking Russia knocking on your doorstep, and you're part of NATO, and you couldn't be bothered to keep up with GDP to keep the barbarians at the gates. Okay? If you rely on another country for your protection, then every once in a while they're going to swing their dick around and get what they want. I mean, that's all there is to it. You've allowed yourself to be weakened, and if you piss off your protectorate, then, well, I mean, bad things happen. Fact checking, new community post that is Republican, this guy. What? All right, Bobby, take care, man. Fact checking, new community post says DC Boggs is Republican, this guy trucks. Now I have all of my teeth. And I actually have a successful career. Never had a road girlfriend. And I'll tell you what, for all of Josh's faults, this guy trucks not blatantly, I mean, who I've never had a problem with, by the way. I don't know where all this vitriol came from. It's kind of odd to me. He got with the safety triangle, and then, or he might have just been fronting the whole time. He may never have liked me. That's fine too. I don't have to be loved by everyone. But one thing you can't take away from Josh is he knows social media. He grew his second channel, a political channel, and it's doing quite well, actually. So even though he has the wrong opinions about everything, it's still, you can't take his success away. Adolf. That's some crazy shit, man. No, it just, he's not the only one. There's other guys out here that are trying to be social media gurus, trying to pay their way into the popularity. It's never going to work because they ain't got it. I mean, it's all there is to it. And I'm not saying I got it, but I'm saying that they don't got it. But they see, the difference is I'm not desperately out here trying to be famous, or to try to carry some clout on these social media streets. This is just who I am. Some people like to listen, some don't. It is what it is. But these guys, they think they're going to be the next, I don't know, Asmongold or whoever, right? And it's just not going to happen. It's just not going to happen. They don't have enough talent. They don't have the charisma. They don't have the intelligence to keep up with all the topics. They keep straight in their heads and to maintain a consistent opinion about whatever, right? All they could do is do a little vitriolic shit posting and on to the next thing that nobody gives a fuck about. It doesn't surprise me. No, I lost, it's about, last count's 170 pounds. I had all this sexiness trapped underneath all that fat, and now it's allowed to come out and shine. I'm being tongue-in-cheek, though. I mean, I did go to the gym again. I've been slacking on the gym. I went yesterday, and now I came out here for a walk, and I'm doing good. I'm feeling great. In Germany, I only paid for the cardiologist. I had to get tested to see if I was healthy enough for the surgery. So I had to do some preliminary testing. So I went to a cardiologist. That was about $1,500 after insurance. But the benefit that I had, it was called Surgery Plus. It's called Lantern now. If you use the doctors in their networks for their surgeries, the surgeons, yeah, it doesn't cost you anything. And I was pretty happy with that. I also did I think it's too graphic, but I also did a colonoscopy through the program. It didn't cost me anything for that either. So it's a really good benefit. Highly recommend, if anything, to get there just for that benefit. It's well worth it. You got bad knees, you may have to wait a year, right? You're not gonna be doing it right away. But after you've been working there a year, you can see about getting your knees or your hip or whatever the hell's going on. Like they cover a lot of surgeries, including bariatric, obviously. And yeah, it's one of the best decisions I ever made. Did you hear about it's called Lantern. It used to be called Surgery Plus, but it's called Lantern. But the person that had bypass surgery, they discovered they had lost a kidney. I don't know, DJ. I mean, I know some guys, they go overseas to get the cheap surgeries, and if that's what it takes, if they don't have the money or the insurance to do it here in the United States, I understand the draw. My problem is that these second and third world countries don't have the same protection and standards in their medical care. So yeah, I would be really, really leery about doing that. Now, there's some guys that did it and they're fine, and that's great. But the problem is when things do go wrong, you as a foreigner have no recourse for like a lawsuit for like gross negligence. There's no protections. What are you going to do? You're going to sue them for the United States, or just going to laugh at you? I don't give a shit. And again, people, not to say that everything here goes according to plan, right? Doctors and surgeons fuck up surgeries here. But at least when you do it here, you have a rule of law and you have legal recourse. When you get done overseas and something goes sideways, you don't have any recourse. And it does occasionally happen. You just don't know if that's going to be you. There's always a risk associated when you go under the knife. I don't give a shit what procedure it is. So yeah, it costs more in the United States, but you're also better protected. I guess that's my point. But that being said, if you need to go overseas to get it done to get your health straight, because you're like at your last straw, then yeah, I would probably do it too. To be honest, it's just you'd have to go in there with open eyes and open mind that shit can go wrong, and that you need to be get your mind right about that. I I hear a lot of guys, especially they get like they come down with cancer. I've talked to a lot of guys about they go get treated for cancer down in Mexico, and they go talk to the doctors and whatnot. The first thing they want to do to treat your cancer is to send you to a dentist. I'm like, come on, guys. I'm like, come on. Well, dental care is important, and you should have it. It's not the first thing you should be worrying about when you're coming down with cancer and needing chemo and shit like that. It's like, oh no, it's your cavities or your gingivitis that's developing your cancer. It's like, that's some voodoo witch doctor bullshit. That's the illusion of doing something for the sake of doing something to make you feel better as a patient. It's not actually doing anything to mitigate your cancer. Transorbital lobotomy. Well, you do that, Tyrannus. It's 25K up here. What, for the bariatric? Yeah, they I got the surgery they gave me was called the SADI. It's SADI-S. The SADI-S. And it's a combination of the gastric sleeve and then a duodenal switch, which is just a fancy way of saying that they took where my intestines hook up to my stomach and they put it further down the tract, so I absorb left. That's why I'm going to be on. I have special bariatric vitamins for the rest of my life because of the absorption levels. But the reason they did that is because of my age and how heavy I was. And it's turning out that a lot of these guys that just get the gastric sleeve by itself, after about 10 years, a lot of these guys are putting the weight back on because the stomach will stretch back out again because they fall back into their bad habits. Whereas if you have to do a duodenal switch with it, you still have the malabsorption. So you literally have to work at overeating. I mean, you'd have to liquefy everything. And even then, if it gets too much, your body, it's what's called dumping syndrome. I know it's this is something that you have to consider when you get one of these surgeries, right? So if I overeat or eat anything too sugary, whatnot, then it's just going to flow out of me. And it's not going to have enough time to be absorbed a whole lot. So it's just, it's almost like a guarantee to keep the weight off. You know? And I'm 50 now. I wanted a one and done. I didn't want to do this again at 70. So it was the closest thing to a sure thing that my surgeon would recommend to get it done. So, and I've been happy with the results so far, to be honest. I'm at the point I don't have any diet restrictions, right? Other than not to have too much sugar. I have to make sure my protein is up because of age and then the malabsorption. So you have to. But I don't have any. If I want some spaghetti or a pizza, I just don't eat the whole thing, right? I have a small bowl of spaghetti, or maybe I'll have 2 slices of pizza instead of the whole damn pie. You know, it forces the portion control, and that was kind of what the point is. So 21. Oh, really? Well, I mean, is it cheaper to just get you the damn surgery to get people healthy again? Guys, I can't remember if I told you guys this or not, but I recently had another sleep study. I have been using a CPAP for about 15 years now. I recently just had a sleep study I no longer require a CPAP. I am now sleeping without being a cyborg. I don't need the machine anymore, right? I know certain dumbasses were going after me about my neck size and whatnot. Well, your neck size uh, has a lot to do with you having sleep apnea. I no longer have sleep apnea. Not bad, huh? I'm actually getting healthier as I get older because I did this. I no longer have to list that on my medical when I get my DOT. We get the battle of 221s. So yeah. And you know what? I think I'm filling out nicely. You know, when you do rapid weight loss, right? Your body's going to look a little different. But I don't care. I didn't do this for anybody but myself. And I'm reaping the rewards for it. Like I said, July 10th was my 1-year anniversary, so it's a little over 1 year. And now I no longer have sleep apnea. And I'm feeling fantastic. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, when I heard that the safety triangle was picking up steam because they were going after Gentry, I'm sorry, it's just old news. I mean, BOC did it better. At least BOC got a cease and desist out of the guys. Yeah. That crew has got no business talking about anybody. I mean, they're just abject failure after abject failure. It's funny to watch, and they're going after more successful people out there talking shit about them. Now, I don't know a lot about this Gentry guy, other than what BOC was doing to that when that was the whole bee's knees thing. But they see these fucking redneck hillbilly morons going out there and attacking other people. It's just comical to me. They've got zero room to talk about anybody when they don't even have their own lives figured out. I don't know. Maybe this Gentry guy deserves that shit talk. The last thing I heard about that guy is that his garage burned to the ground. That's the last I heard about it, right? He had the BOC thing, then Gentry's garage burned to the ground. He lost everything in there. And that was the last I heard. Is the guy a shitbag? I don't know. I don't really give a shit. You know, the people but what I do know are the people that are going after the guy are shitbags. So it's like shitbag square. So it's like the battle of who's the bigger shitbag. They're all shitbags. Doesn't matter. None of them have a leg to stand on. That's what makes it funny. Yeah. That's what makes it funny. To me, anyway. That's what makes it funny. Whatever. And, people are going to watch. Right? Because they like to hear the shit talking. And that's fine. But just realize that the people doing the shit talking don't have a leg to stand on. Because they're shitbags themselves. It's very pathetic, actually. Look, man, it's people desperate trying to be popular on social media, and it's the spaghetti bowl against the wall, right? They're just going to throw everything they can against the wall and see what sticks, and that's what they're going to run with, right? So they got a little bit of traction by going after a much bigger channel, and now they're going to beat that dead horse. But eventually it's going to dry up, because it always does. That's why this community was dying. Because everything that could be said was said. And that was the end of it, right? Right? Now we're splitting hairs here, Tyrannus. I'm just saying, it's just funny, right? I can use me for an example. These guys are supposed to be paragons of masculinity and fucking good moral values and ethics. And look at the shit they did online. Look what they did. These aren't good people. They're horrible people. Yeah, I'm not going to say I'm a saint out here, but I never did anywhere near to the shit that these guys have done. You know, at least I kept my shit to YouTube. You know, not just doing all the weird shit they were doing behind the scenes. Pretty much. Yeah. Well, I mean, I like Narc, but the thing is, he killed the golden goose. Jason was the golden goose, right? When I was talking shit on Jason, I wasn't going off of YouTube. I was just using his own words against him in his own actions. When you go too hard to paint, you chase off the people that you make your content on, and now you got no content. So you can't go so hard to paint where you're running people off. You want them out here making videos so you can make fun of them, right? But they're not going to do that when they think their job is going to get called or their family's going to be cyber stalked or whatever. And that's just not Narc, that's for everyone. Right? So they killed the golden goose. That's why this community died, right? That's just being honest about it. These people went away because the juice wasn't worth the squeeze, and they were being attacked in their personal lives. Now nobody can have fun anymore. Well, yeah, that's the point. That's why they're not good people. They're actually quite stupid. Being stupid but cunning is not the same thing as intelligence. And then throwing a helping dose of vindictiveness is not a good combination. It makes for a horrible person. And of course, birds of a feather flock together, right? So you have alpha shitbag, and he attracts little beta baby shitbags to go circle in their orbit because they want to get some of that social media shine. Yeah, and then there you have it. Oh yeah. Well, it doesn't surprise me. That doesn't surprise me. Mutual combat was more entertaining. Oh, you're talking about the whole Willie Larry thing? Yeah. Oh God, yeah. We on Discord, I guess they tracked down Larry. Larry's been trolling the Boit, bottom of YouTube. He's been out there talking. I thought he had died of cancer already. I was surprised to actually hear him. He's still kicking around. I thought he was dead. But yeah, they heard he's out there trolling some Boit people. That's, you know, it's nothing to do with trucking, but just Larry being Larry. It was some funny shit. We were listening to the one. We were just listening to some of those guys because sometimes, every once in a while, we got a watch party depending on work, right? And we can have like a little watch parties in Discord. And then we heard this one guy talking, and he made this almost like a music video, like auto-tuned. But Larry it's like, wait a minute, that's Larry June. What the hell? And we were listening to him saying the same shit to these people that he was saying to us. I'm like, damn, that was some funny shit, to be honest. But yeah, I thought cancer already took his ass. I guess he's still kicking around. Yeah, whatever. But nah, just shit you find funny. It's some things that change, some things that stay the same, right? It's just the same people, but they're hanging out with a different crew. Whatever. I gotta check this real quick. All right. think I've bullshitted enough. I'm gonna get out of here, guys. I hope you enjoy the rest of your day. You guys take care. TC out.